has been reported to you here so far? We apparently found somebody who had registered people 73 times. The registration in Cleveland, they're talking 73 times. We have found a person who said he registered people multiple times here as well. Has that Central Ohio case come forward? What are you seeing?
Normally when we've not had this reported to us directly, but thank you for letting us know. Normally what happens is that the County Board of Elections receives that information first. And with the requirement in the law under 3501.11, the county is required to investigate. We've told the counties that if that the investigation should involve a hearing, and that if the hearing would potentially affect someone's eligibility to vote, that hearing should be held before the election. Because again, in the hearing process, they're gathering information so that they can send that on to their county prosecutor and also to our office so that we can involve the Attorney General if that's necessary. So I know in Cleveland, from what I've read, now they are holding an election today in Cleveland, a special election for the vacancy for the expiration of the term for Stephanie Tubbs-Jones's seat and also for Fannie Lewis's seat on the Cleveland City Council. But my understanding is that they had a meeting at the Board of Elections yesterday and referred the matter to the county prosecutor for investigation and prosecution if that's warranted in the case. And we fully support that.
Will there be any state involvement? Will the Attorney General be involved in that at this point?
When the board receives this directive today, it should be referring whatever findings it's made to us. We'll go ahead and refer it to the Attorney General and ask for the Attorney General to assist. What I understand from my work as a judge before I held this position is that generally one law enforcement agency will spearhead the investigation, and by us contacting the Attorney General, it is actually a way to assist that county board, county prosecutor in the effort that they're undertaking. Sometimes, for instance, in Lake County, where there's an investigation that's underway about potential alleged petition fraud, and it involves more than one county, the Board of Elections did express gratitude for our willingness to gather information from other counties and then to refer the matter to the Attorney General to assist the prosecutor in that effort. But again, we respect whoever the first investigating agency is, and we simply want to provide any support that will allow them to do a thorough investigation and conclude whether or not they should move forward on prosecution.
Am I understanding correctly that you are going to now voluntarily comply with Judge Smith's order as far as giving the counties a mechanism to identify and do whatever they wish with the mismatches?
The counties already have a mechanism, but as your publication put it, his order is a common sense order, and we agree that that would be a good thing to do, and so we want to make it as easy as possible for boards to verify their records and ensure that they're accurate. At some point in the future, as I've traveled around the state, I have been asked the question time and time again by boards of elections, do you think we'll ever get to mail-in voting? And the cleaner our voter registration database is, the better position we would be in to pass legislation that would allow counties to do that.
Well, this clean rolls, I mean, in effect, then counties can pursue voter registration fraud. I mean, are you leaving this up to the counties, or are you saying they should, when the mismatch comes back, in your mind, what should counties do then?
What federal law requires is when a mismatch comes back, the counties should try to resolve any discrepancies and ensure that the information they have regarding someone's driver's license number or social security number is correct. HAVA recognizes in the statute that you will have people who have neither a driver's license or a social security number. And I should clarify, in social security, we're talking about the last 4 digits, right, not the entire number. And HAVA then says to the states that you need to set up a specific identification number for that voter, knowing that that voter does not have either one of these types of identifying numbers associated with that person. And I'm not really quite sure what was in the minds of Congress when they passed this portion of HAVA, because they require these matches, but there's absolutely no teeth in it other than your records should be accurate and correct.
So you're taking that extra step. I just want to make sure we understand. It seems to be a critical point. You want counties to pursue these mismatches and resolve these issues before the election, obviously.
Well, the county should be doing it anyways, but we're simply providing them with an easier way to do that.
And you'll be able to do that, you said, by the end of this week or the beginning of next week, is that?
That's correct. When we inherited the database from the previous administration, it was rather rudimentary in its construction. 3 different vendors had entered the information for the boards of elections. Actually, data entered their voter databases. If you understand databases, you have particular fields so that you can sort by those fields. The vendors had not honored the same fields in the same way, which, if you may recall, I remember in 2006 I tried to look up my own voter registration, and I didn't read the instructions carefully enough on the website, and so I put in my entire address, which included my street number, my house number on my street, and it said I wasn't registered to vote. Well, obviously when you're running for Secretary of State, that's a little disconcerting. So then I read the instructions again, and because of the inconsistency in how the vendors entered the data originally, you really could only enter your street name, and you couldn't do it directional north, south, east, or west. So since we have been in office, we have put in place a full-time voter database coordinator who actually came from the Department of Administrative Services from the last administration, and his position, I believe, was Deputy Director for IT. And we have harmonized those fields. We have updated the manual, and our understanding of looking at what kind of paper trail we could find from the last administration was, originally the Secretary of State sent messages frequently about non-matches, and the counties objected strenuously to having to deal with those, and so the Secretary of State acquiesced and stopped sending the messages to the counties, although the counties could still access mismatches by going in and looking at individual voter registration records. So if the county Board of Elections would look at a particular voter that they have a question about, they would be able to pull up that voter's name and look at what may have come back on that voter from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles or the Social Security Administration. If there was a match, it's not going to be flagged. But we understand that there seems to be a desire by some people to be able to actually locate just the mismatches and do that. We have not heard that request from the boards of elections, but we've heard it from the Ohio Republican Party. So we think that that's a good idea, to be able to sort by more ways than what are provided right now in the database, and we're making those changes. So it's available to the boards.
So will you let